Hello and welcome to today's keynote. My name is Jim Brennan and I serve as the Chief Product Officer here at BetterCloud. And I'm excited to be continuing our discussion on our product vision and on the investments that we're making to help IT teams both large and small. Yesterday, we presented our vision for the BetterCloud SaaSOps platform. And we introduced BetterCloud Discover, the third pillar of that platform. Discover joins our existing managed and secure solutions to create the first all-in-one SaaSOps platform. And with that, you now have the visibility, the efficiency, and the control you need to manage your users, your data, and all of your applications in your environment. Now, BetterCloud Discover is a great example of how we're constantly expanding our platform in support of new and important use cases. But we're also committed to providing deeper and broader support for our existing solutions. So let's dive in and let's explore how we're improving those existing solutions, BetterCloud Manage and BetterCloud Secure, to help deliver on the true promise of SaaS. Our investments in these existing solutions are focused on three primary areas. The first, increased integration support for your most commonly deployed applications. Second, streamlined management through better automation. And last but not least, enhanced visibility and control. So today, we'll discuss why we're focused on these three areas, and we'll demonstrate what these investments mean for you as a BetterCloud customer. Let's begin with increased integration support. Now, as I talked about in my keynote yesterday, our ultimate goal here at BetterCloud is to help you manage and secure your entire SaaS environment. Last year at Altitude, we took a huge step towards achieving this goal with the launch of our BetterCloud Integration Center, which allowed you to easily connect SaaS applications into BetterCloud and to develop and share custom integrations in support of any application that exposes an API. Since then, we've added support for a wide array of new applications. And we've enhanced many of those integrations that we announced last year. This includes deep support for applications such as OneLogin, Microsoft 365, and Dropbox, to name just a few. And as a result, we now offer more than 60 out-of-the-box integrations, supporting more than 900 actions and alerts. This represents a 6x increase in the number of available integrations and a 9x increase in the number of available actions and alerts. But this was just the beginning, because we're taking our integration support even further by providing support for the applications that offer the most positive impact on your end user experience, are the market leaders in their respective categories, and are the most commonly deployed among our customers. We'll do this by focusing on three categories of applications: identity, productivity, and human resource information systems, or HRIS. So I'd like to share with you a bit about why we've chosen these three categories and tell you about some exciting new integrations that will soon be available in support of each one of them. Let's start with identity. Identity and access management solutions have become a critical component of securing and managing the access to the SaaS solutions being supported by IT. And while we already offer robust support for leading solutions such as OneLogin and Okta, we wanted to make sure that we were broadening our support for the most popular solutions in the market today. And as such, we're very pleased to be announcing support for Azure AD. With this integration, which will be available at the end of this year, BetterCloud is increasing its investment in our ability to support the growing number of Microsoft-centric SaaS environments that are being operated today. In those environments, Azure AD typically acts as the system of record for all user information. BetterCloud can now leverage that information to control, manage, and secure application permissions and settings for all of your users. You'll be able to use this integration to monitor Azure AD for changes and then trigger an automated sequence of actions to onboard or offboard users, or perhaps perform mid-lifecycle changes when certain criteria are met. In addition to basic provisioning and deprovisioning, BetterCloud offers support for advanced actions, like transferring files, assigning licenses, or adding users to groups. Finally, you can leverage the automated monitoring to better secure your environment by conditioning access according to certain user attributes. Next, we're increasing our investment in productivity applications. Now, BetterCloud has a rich history of providing deep support for these applications, such as G Suite, Microsoft 365, and Slack, to name a few. But we also acknowledge the growing importance of these applications, especially with the explosion in remote work over these past several months. In fact, most digital transformation strategies are built upon the key tenet of wall-to-wall deployment of these applications. We're therefore increasing our investment significantly, and as such, we're very pleased to announce support for Google Shared Drives. Now, this has been one of our most requested integrations, and so I'm thrilled to tell you that it's currently in beta and will be available early next year. This integration builds upon our deep history of providing support for Google Drives by adding even more automated actions and alerts, supporting the critical admin activities associated with shared drives, which is becoming increasingly a critical component of most G Suite environments. With this integration, we're empowering IT to more effectively manage the users and teams that have come to rely upon shared drives, beginning first with initial user lifecycle management tasks like onboarding, mid-lifecycle tasks such as changing permissions on files, folders, and groups, and finally by enabling automated offboarding of users from shared drives. We're also helping IT better protect the sensitive data that resides within these shared drives by using our powerful content scanning capability to find that data before it can be improperly shared or exposed. Once found, security issues can be easily remediated using our automated workflows. Finally, we're increasing our investment in human resource information systems, or HRIS. These solutions are increasingly becoming the source of truth for all employee information. And so by connecting with these apps, we're able to offer an increased level of automation, automating many of the common processes that, quite frankly, today represent bottlenecks between HR departments and IT teams. We're prioritizing our investment in this area by supporting the leading applications, and so we're very happy to be announcing support for Workday, which will be available early next year. Now, when a user or admin makes a change in Workday, such as creating a new employee record, updating an employee status, or updating a title, that triggers an automated workflow in BetterCloud, which then propagates those changes throughout all of your SaaS applications. Historically, this type of sequence of actions had to be manually triggered, and most of the individual steps had to be manually performed. But with the BetterCloud integration for Workday, these actions are triggered and performed automatically, simplifying app configuration and increasing security by mitigating any discrepancies that might exist between different systems. BetterCloud's automated security workflows can be conditioned by all critical Workday attributes and can take any required action to help you maintain control over your environment. Now, as excited as we are about these new integrations for Azure AD, Google Shared Drive, and Workday, we're not stopping there because we're investing in an accelerated integration delivery capability. And over the next 6 months, we'll be delivering new integrations from Microsoft Teams, Slack Enterprise Grid, and ADP. And we'll also be enhancing some of our most popular existing integrations, such as Zoom, VMware Workspace ONE, and ServiceNow. The selection of these applications aligns with our strategy of providing support for the market-leading solutions that are most commonly used by our customers. And so we're thrilled to be announcing them. Now, as critical as integrations are, the full value of these or any BetterCloud integration can only be realized when coupled with a high degree of adaptive automation. Here to tell us more about our investment in this important area is our Director of Product Management, Michael Marks. Michael?
Thanks, Jim. Let's take a look at what BetterCloud has been investing into to help you automate more of your SaaS operations across a wide variety of SaaS apps, where we're going to go from here, and how we're going to leverage the SaaSOps community to continue to build on that momentum. Integrations, including the ones that Jim just mentioned, are critical to a successful SaaSOps platform. In order to automate the SaaSOps use cases across all of those integrations, however, requires a really powerful, flexible, and customizable workflow engine. We've made some great enhancements that enable you to take advantage of the best practices while increasing the flexibility around how you want to automate for your specific business needs. Let's take a look at 3 of these enhancements: templates, or conditions, and custom triggers. Let's start with a discussion around templates. BetterCloud provides customers with the ability to automate all workflows that were previously manual IT tasks. Once these workflows are built, the resulting automation saves IT admins a significant amount of time. It also saves your organization money through being able to accomplish a lot more with a lot less. And lastly, it gives you the peace of mind knowing that your checklists are automatically being checked off. But building those workflows in the first place is still a manual effort and requires significant upfront analysis and planning. How do you decide what to automate? How much of a process can or even should be automated? How are IT companies and other admins automating their manual tasks? To help answer these questions, we've built workflow templates. Workflow templates gives you access to SaaSOps best practices right out of the box. We provide you with step-by-step automations for many of your manual processes, making it really easy for you to get started with automation quickly, reducing that upfront time and effort to get started, and ensuring you don't miss a single step for automating your most critical workflows. Our templates don't just tell you what best practices looks like, they actually walk you through the setup of a pre-configured multi-step workflow within a wizard. This makes it easy for you to understand exactly what you're going to be automating and get up and running very, very quickly. These templates are based on best practices that we uncovered through analyzing the millions of workflows that we've run for thousands of IT teams. We have also productized tribal knowledge from our most advanced customers and our own expert advisory group, who have provided white glove implementation services for hundreds of companies and have truly seen what the best of the best in automation looks like. Over the last 6 months, we have launched more than 30 workflow templates that span key use cases across areas such as user lifecycle management, like onboarding and offboarding, application configuration, like archiving empty public channels, insider threats for monitoring email forwarding, and least privileged access, like revoking super admin rights. We continue to add new templates to this library to make it easy for you to discover and explore new use cases that BetterCloud supports. Today, BetterCloud has been the only group that's been building these templates for the SaaSOps community. Looking forward, we want to enable the SaaSOps community to be the source of the workflows that can be shared and leveraged by everyone in our community. To enable this, we are working on shareable workflow templates. This will enable IT teams to share their expertise and best practices with the entire SaaSOps community. This will strengthen the SaaSOps community as we share our own best practices with one another and help each other solve some of the most complex and challenging SaaSOps problems. We're incredibly excited to see the creativity and willingness to help others that will come out of this community through shareable workflow templates. In addition to workflow templates, we have made enhancements to our workflows with the addition of OR condition. We want to provide you with the most flexible automations possible. And OR conditions is a fantastic way to extend the flexibility of workflows to ensure you have the most efficient and easy to manage automations. IT admins want to create workflows based on certain conditions. For example, there might be an onboarding workflow based on a user's department. The sales, marketing, and success departments should get the same type of access to specific applications, groups, channels, and licenses. All of the other departments might have their own shared set of access rights, but the sales, marketing, and success teams all have the shared set of access that every member of their team should get access to. Before OR conditions, when an IT admin wanted to create this setup within BetterCloud, they had to create duplicate workflows for each department, even though they all had the same output and the same automations. You can imagine the inefficiency here, the tedious and time-consuming nature to create duplicate workflows. Then, of course, when you finally had all the workflows set up exactly the way you wanted it to, someone from sales decides that they want to add a new process to automate for everyone in sales, marketing, and success. So now you have to go into every single workflow and duplicate those changes over and over and over again. Well, no more. With OR conditions, you can have a single workflow that provides the same level of automation. And when it comes to making changes, you now only have to do it once. We just walked through a prime example of leveraging OR conditions in onboarding, but let's walk through one more example of how useful OR conditions can be. One of our customers told us that there are 7 specific groups within their SaaS environment that they consider sensitive. Anytime a user is added to one of these groups, they want to kick off a formal investigation. They do this by opening up a ServiceNow ticket, they send a Slack message to their security team, and they step up the multi-factor authentication for that user's most critical applications. Before OR conditions, this customer had to have 7 different workflows, monitoring one workflow for each individual group. Now they have a single workflow that can monitor all 7 groups, making the management of this workflow much more streamlined. We're really excited by this enhancement and can't wait to see how you plan to use it. Last, but certainly not least, let's talk about custom triggers. One of the keys to automating IT operations with workflows is for them to be triggered automatically. BetterCloud has built-in native workflow triggers for over a dozen critical SaaS applications, and we continue to develop even more. These triggers even have multiple conditions, giving you the right level of flexibility to decide when you want to trigger your automations, only exactly when you want them to be. But what happens when you want to trigger your workflows from an application that does not have native workflow trigger support? Today, IT teams are forced to log into BetterCloud and manually kick off that workflow when they are notified that an event occurred. As you would suspect, the situation really results in a poor user experience for your end users. Notifications get missed, an IT team member is too busy and isn't there to manually kick off that workflow in a timely enough manner, or something else prevents the workflow from being initiated. However, we're really excited to announce that that is no longer a problem. We're investing in something called custom triggers. This gives you the power to kick off your automations automatically in whatever application you want them to be. These triggers will be able to kick off workflows based on events from external systems like HRIS, ITSM, SIMS, and other tools to expand the number of workflows that can be automated. In the example on the screen, perhaps workflow triggers isn't natively supported for your HRIS system, but you want to automate the user lifecycle management, let's say offboarding. With custom triggers, you can now configure your HRIS system to notify BetterCloud whenever an employee has reached their termination date. Once BetterCloud's notified, we can automatically kick off that workflow. No more manually logging into BetterCloud to initiate your offboarding. Another common request we've heard is configuring BetterCloud to receive notifications from ticketing systems like ServiceNow or Jira Service Desk once a ticket has reached a certain approval step or has reached a certain state. Now, with custom triggers, we can configure BetterCloud to receive the notification and automate the resolution of a ticket the moment that ticket reaches the desired state, saving the IT admin from logging into BetterCloud and manually resolving the ticket's request. The most exciting part about custom triggers is that we effectively expanded the number of events that can trigger a workflow from about 100 to virtually infinity. With last year's release of Integration Center offering you the ability to create custom actions for any SaaS app, paired with custom triggers, you now have the flexibility to customize BetterCloud to match your exact needs and automate all of your SaaSOps processes. With that, I want to pass things over to Harit Patel. He's a senior product manager here at BetterCloud, and he's going to talk about the power of centralizing the administration of all your SaaS apps into BetterCloud's all-in-one platform. Harit?
Thanks, Michael. Moving on to our last section, visibility and control. It is amazing to see all these interactions, these automations come into play to make a more dreamful automation experience for our end users. However, the last key piece is visibility and control. Let's take a look at how we're going to solve this, leveraging the BetterCloud platform and centralized controls across discover, manage, and secure capabilities within BetterCloud. Last Altitude, we talked about this idea of a single user connected across SaaS applications and how it's helping you stay more connected in this application world. As we saw during Monday's keynote, we have users in your organization using hundreds of applications and creating more and more data, even files, tickets, meetings, and even creating devices. Bringing us to a point where we have a centralized command center is going to provide you the most valuable inputs and insights around your users. So we started this journey 3 years ago, where we introduced the view of User 360, allowing you to see a user-centric view of your users and their applications that they're using, while also surfacing configurations for them and their files and their memberships. We're taking a huge leap forward. Now, we're going to provide more insightful data with rich visuals and help you further manage and secure your users. I'm proud to share that today we're delivering on the 2019 promise from Altitude and allowing you to see more insights within the User 360 view to to see more information about your users, their files, their folders, and the user settings and configurations to better manage from an IT perspective. We believe this is going to be game-changing. The power of understanding how your user interacts with the different applications, their different data types, and understanding usage patterns is going to provide more valuable insights from a SaaS management and SaaS security standpoint. So with that, let's take a look at what it looks like. As soon as you click on a user in BetterCloud, you are provided with a completely new experience. It's more modern, more 2020, if I may say, and much better than the previous version. At first glance, right at the top, you're presented with the primary attributes, which are the core attributes for your user, coming from their data sources of truth, be it the HRIS system, Active Directory, or an SSO application. Think of these as the core pieces that help you understand your user, their title, their email address, their manager, and even their last login to help you understand if the user is using that application. And as you move down to the left, you're presented with this card around applications. Tying in to our Discover functionality we introduced earlier this year, it is going to surface enhancements and information around whether those applications used by the user are sanctioned or unsanctioned. Are they utilized more frequently, or are they utilized less frequently based on even their last login data? We will be presenting multiple cards here. Moving on next, to the right, you're presented with another card focused primarily around applications that are storage applications or productivity applications, be it Box, Dropbox, or even Google. Here you're presented with a categorized configuration across external, internal, or public files. It is going to surface more insights and provide you more visibility into how your user is utilizing these sharing permissions across files. And you can also take actionable insights, or you can take an action using our action engine on a one-off basis. Compared to the legacy view, you are provided with a more richer experience rather than just providing you with files grids or member grids. Interacting with this is going to provide you a more insightful behavior and give you more information about the user. And as you click at the tabs on the top, you can also click on Personal Information tab. The Personal Information tab is basically a compilation of user attributes in a much more organized manner. Primarily at the top, you will see the primary attributes, and as you scroll down, you'll be presented with additional attributes, which BetterCloud is aware of. And we want to surface these so you can look at the user's configurations and their settings. We believe this is going to be game-changing, something brand new and not available in the industry today. We are super excited to help you log into BetterCloud instances and have access to this view, which is planned to be available this quarter. However, we're not stopping there. Our vision is to surface more information about your users as you start connecting to all these applications. Show how users are connected with applications, their data, their calendars, their devices, and surfacing all these behaviors to help you understand the user. We're excited to share this journey with you and help you improve your visibility and your control for your users with BetterCloud. And with that, I will pass on to Jim.
Thank you, Harit. I'm now very excited to be joined by Craig Holland from Condé Nast. Craig is here today to share with us the experience that he and his team have had with BetterCloud and how they're using the platform to solve some of the challenges we've been discussing today. Craig, thanks so much for being with us today.
Happy to be here.
So maybe to kick things off, if you could tell us a bit about Condé Nast for those who might not be as familiar with the company, and then also your role within the company.
Sure. So Condé Nast is a global company that does publications for magazines. Vogue magazine, Vanity Fair, The New Yorker, Wired. So we have quite a variety of different types of content, media. We span the globe. We've got operations in Europe. We've got operations in Asia. My role is to operate all the infrastructure for the company. That's inclusive of things like our AWS, our cloud presence, our SaaS applications, all the compute, database, all the things that go into the infrastructure for Condé Nast.
Great. So as you know, we've been talking a lot today about the challenges of managing and securing your environment, especially SaaS applications. So we'd love to hear from you a bit more about what that's looked like for Condé Nast over the last couple of years, and then perhaps the things you're doing now to gain better control over that situation.
Yeah, so Condé Nast, for a long time, operated sort of in pieces and markets, as we called them. We had the US market, we had the European market in Asia. I mean, those were even broken into countries, and each one of those had their own publications. And so it was a challenge to sort of see all these different, to work with all these different parts of the world, all these different parts of the company. So security was very fractured. Our processes were fractured. Our management was fractured. We were using different SaaS products. We were all over the board. And so over the last couple of years, we've been working to consolidate as much as we can into a global company, which is fun. It's challenging, but it's a good exercise for us. We're having a good time sort of watching how we can work together and pull the company into a formation that's a lot more manageable. As part of that, we're normalizing a lot of the technologies and the SaaSes and all the things that we're putting into the infrastructure so that we can manage it easier. We're also looking at centralizing a lot of our operations. We're creating centers of excellence. We're moving groups into common locations and getting skill sets aligned with each other. And the tools like BetterCloud are what we're using to sort of help us get to the point where we can manage these larger operations globally with fewer people, smaller teams, cheaper teams. So yeah.
Great. And can you tell us a bit about what was it about the BetterCloud platform that first got you to look at it and to consider it?
Well, it was a while ago, and I'm a big sort of home automation guy, and so I was using IFTTT a lot for doing things in my house. And when I first started talking to BetterCloud, I kind of saw it as an IFTTT for the enterprise, right? I kind of liked the idea that I could go in and hook up a bunch of my enterprise applications and then start writing basic routines that allowed me to go, well, if this, then let's go do that. Like, I think that's great, right? Back then, we were just sort of getting an idea of how complicated this was going to be when we had to tie together different SaaS apps. We still had a lot of on-prem stuff. Like, this was, probably 3 or 4 years ago. So that's what got me first interested. It's kind of a, out of left field kind of thing. And it just sort of resonated with what I like to do. And as time went on, and we started to really see the complexities of managing multiple SaaSes, it became basically a requirement that we found some way to tie this together and to make it easier to manage than going through all the different panes of glass and trying to manage all these things as individual products.
Great. And at the time, was the driver more coming from that operational side of things? You mentioned efficiency and working with smaller teams. Was there also a security element that was driving you to look at solutions like BetterCloud?
A lot of the tools, things like G Suite and some of the other larger tool sets, they have their own security stuff built into them, and that's great. But it's only for them, right? And I wanted products and security tools that I could deploy across the entire enterprise without the whole suite of products, and not just be for that one product. So, for example, again, G Suite. We were enterprise customers for a very long time, and we started to discover that we didn't necessarily need to be at that level. We could actually modify our subscription level, lower our SKUs, lower our costs, and move some of the functionality from them into something like BetterCloud that has the ability of looking across more platforms than just Google.
Excellent. So you talked about the complexity of your environment, and obviously we're dealing with multiple different SaaS applications, different APIs, all that. Talk to us a bit about your experience so far in terms of the implementation of BetterCloud. In particular, would love to hear about just the team that you've been working with and some of the relationships there, perhaps the overall partnership between Condé Nast and BetterCloud.
It's a complex thing to bring all these different SaaSes together, and it's really great working with the BetterCloud team and the engagement we've had with our CS Fran and with all the executive team. And the whole endeavor has been a little bit of a challenge trying to sort of get all the technical people behind the idea of putting an overlay on top of all these SaaS applications, and in some ways ceding control to a third party. And the BetterCloud team has been great helping us through that, making everybody feel comfortable, showing them how to use the tools. So I think that, for all the things that we've been able to do with BetterCloud, it's been really a huge win for everybody so far.
You mentioned something really interesting that we see a lot of, the fact that when you embark on a project like this, it oftentimes is the first time that different teams are having to come together and in some cases cede ownership of an application like you're talking about. How has that been, besides the relationship with BetterCloud to help that, but just if you could share your experience, I'm sure others could learn from that, because that is something we see a lot. It's a new motion, this whole idea of centralized SaaS management, and oftentimes takes that change in terms of how the company works cross-functionally.
Yeah, we definitely in the beginning had to go through some exercises around, basically a racy exercise. Not only were we trying to change the delegation of authority with something like BetterCloud, we were also, as I said before, integrating into a global company, right? And so there was a lot of different territories and people that felt like they had different levels of control, that needed access to certain things, and we wanted to take that away and give it to something else. And part of that challenge was making people feel comfortable with that. And one of the ways we approached that was kind of helping people realize that some of the tasks that they were doing were essentially not things that they needed to be doing, that we could assign those tasks to other people, to lower level engineers, if they spent a little bit of time sort of defining what it was they were doing, putting it into a tool like BetterCloud, and then sort of locking it down, right? And that way we can hand off what we would normally consider more high risk jobs down to a lower tier of support, and not really have to compromise the security that goes into doing that kind of work. And then that frees up the engineers or the higher level contributors to focus on stuff that they're better suited for. So it was a little bit of they had to let go, but there was a little bit of a carrot in there, and that they were able to move on and do some projects that were more interesting to them as well.
That's great to hear. So now that the team's been using BetterCloud for some period of time, what have been some of the primary use cases that have emerged so far?
Well, the bread and butter is the JML stuff, right? We've been able to make way more efficient our ability to on and offboard people. Unfortunately, in the current state of the world, that's something that I think we're all being challenged with. And it's not only a matter of changing the size of the company, but it's also adjusting to where people are and being able to make adjustments to the HRIS systems and to update asset databases and to track different things that we've assigned to users. And it's complicated. We weren't expecting to have to do it this way. But that's probably the most sort of key thing that we've been able to do with it at this point. And we're looking at a few other things that we can use it for in the future as we start to learn more about what we have, when we get into the discovery tools and things of that nature. I think we see a lot more opportunity around the security and being able to sort of control better, the documents that we have out there. We have, a lot more computers that are floating around outside the business now, outside our buildings. And I think being able to sort of not only keep that visibility and discover things, but being able to confidently on and off board and keep track of where all that stuff is, it's going to be very important for us over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yep, makes total sense. And you talked about how that automation, even pretty early, is enabling your team to maybe focus on some other projects. What are some of the other priorities that now you can shift towards, given this increased level of automation?
Yeah, well, so we're, as we've moved our operations home completely, and we're not currently seeing a return to work anytime soon, at least not in any normal way. We've had to sort of look at technologies that make things easier for people to work from home. We've looked at technologies to make it more secure for people to work from home. So little things like modifying timeouts around our IDMs and our Oktas and things of that nature. Our ability to sort of handle assets and manage them, right? So we've been able to build tools now that are sort of bespoke for the situation where, we just didn't need that kind of rigor before. And we're going back in some cases and actually making better the infrastructure that we had designed over the last couple of years that we were doing in a rush, right? We were in a hurry to go to G Suite at one point. We were in a hurry to consolidate our Okta tenants and our G Suite tenants and all the things that we had to do over the last couple of years to sort of consolidate the company. We weren't always doing those on like, a take your time timeline. We were doing those in a rush. And so now we're able to go back and focus on sort of not necessarily redoing, but firming up and cleaning up a lot of the work that we put aside as low risks at the time, right? So it's sort of a little bit is technical debt, a little bit is coming up with some new tools and technologies for the company.
Excellent, great. So last question, as you think about using BetterCloud going forward, what do you hope to see from the platform?
Well, obviously more integrations. The more SaaSes that you guys can connect to, the more we can do with you guys. And obviously the ones that we use would be the perfect ones for you to work on. The discovery tool I'm really excited about, as we do go out and learn more about the different markets, it's going to be something that'll make it a lot easier for us to sort of define the scope of what we're working on. I mean, there's markets we've gone into that have, 1,000 applications and only hundreds of users, right? And I think that's not uncommon these days. It's so easy for people to get to applications on the internet and get to SaaSes and sort of do their own thing that, the long tail is becoming a pretty extensive list of things that you have to be aware of. So having that ability is going to be important for us. I think extending the security capabilities, right? The deeper you guys go into your ability to look into our stuff and to help us understand what people are doing and where they've been doing it and when, and helping them learn to stop and bring back some of the things they may have put out in the wild. Like that's all very important to us, right? And the sort of cross-platform visibility that I initially was attracted to will only get bigger. And as you guys start to develop your ability to reach into more applications, that extends not only my operational impact, but also it helps with my security. So that's probably the top thing drawing me right now is as you guys build out the ability to sort of extend what we have and keep building with you guys.
Absolutely. Plenty to keep us busy for a while. So thanks for sharing that with us. Absolutely. So Craig, always great to speak with you. And thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for being such a great partner to us. And we definitely appreciate the time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Wow, what a great way to close out today's session. So before we go, let's take a minute to recap what we've discussed and talk about what you can do next to learn more. Over these past 2 days, we've discussed how BetterCloud is delivering the first all-in-one SaaSOps platform. We've introduced the new BetterCloud Discover solution, the third pillar of that platform, giving you visibility into the SaaS applications being used in your environment. And we've announced some exciting new investments in our managed and secure solutions. Now more than ever, IT departments need powerful tools in support of SaaS discovery, SaaS management, and SaaS security. And we believe that BetterCloud's all-in-one SaaSOps platform provides such tools in a way unlike any other solution in the market today. And we would love for you to continue to learn more about all these solutions have to offer. We've got a rich lineup of sessions planned for today, and so we invite you to join us in those. And I want to once again thank you for spending this time with us today. We hope that you are as excited as we are about the future of the BetterCloud platform. We hope to see you in today's sessions, and thank you once again for joining.